Thanks so much for being with us here on ANF Plus. Getting to the top stories that we are following right now. Today, President Donald Trump is expected to put in place tariffs on imports from Mexico as well as Canada, and these could really drive up prices for a lot of products. Many people, of course, are wondering how quickly prices could climb once these tariffs do take effect. Of course, impacting some products. But again, if this would be a 25% tariff on items from Mexico and Canada that are imported from those countries. And some experts do actually believe that those tariffs could increase the price of everything from tomatoes to tequila, even gas possibly, by as much as 70 cents. Now, while the cost of a new car maybe could go up thousands of dollars is what some experts are predicting. We talked to the organizer of a drive-through food distribution about her thoughts.
It will have a great impact on the number of people that we see here coming to the food pantry, not just here at the King's Table, but throughout. Food pantries and food banks are going to get hit hard the most.
And President Trump is planning to use these tariffs as leverage to halt the flow of migrants and fentanyl across our southern border. And also making headlines as well, hundreds of people met on Buford Highway to protest the recent arrests and raids by immigration and customs enforcement officials. Atlanta News First Brittany Ford went to Buford Highway to see how local officials are trying to calm fears.
I like the culture.
Buford Highway is home to restaurants, shops owned and or employed by hundreds of immigrants.
All the cultures on this highway. I even drive down here to get emissions tested. I do all kinds of things on Buford. We shop at some of the local little stores.
A place Ann Jones goes to get the perfect bowl of pho.
Normally, this place is packed out by this time of the day.
The area was the target of U.S. immigration and custom enforcement arrests among other cities around Metro Atlanta this week, with officers seen in Chamblee and Brookhaven.
I'm hearing stories of people afraid of going out and eating or going out to stores, and I'm even hearing reports of some kids not showing up to school. It's very concerning.
Brookhaven Mayor John Park says he's worried the recent events will have devastating effects on their relationship with the immigrant community.
And my concern is that, they'll just group us with all the other agencies, and we may have to, work hard to reestablish that trust.
Javier Diaz de Leon, Consulate General of Mexico in Atlanta, says the arrests are not random.
Evidence that a widespread raid is happening. What is going on are focused operations that the main immigration authorities in this region are going for the detention of specific individuals that have a process, or there's a deportation order, but nothing like, widespread operations.
People like De Leon and Parker say they're trying to ease ongoing fear.
There's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of concern.
To let the immigrant community that lights up Buford Highway and other parts of Metro Atlanta regain a sense of belonging.
We are Brookhaven, and we are strong, and we are together.
Brittany Ford, Atlanta News First.
And it is February 1st today, so it's the first day of Black History Month. I just want to point you to this collection of stories that we have on AtlantaNewsFirst.com, which you can also access through our free mobile news app. Atlanta News First anchor Tracy Hutchins has one of those stories in which she explores the history of Georgia's roads and their impact on intentional racial segregation. Here's Tracy's report.
There were businesses all along here.
A once bustling Black community, now just memories.
We didn't go any other places.
Didn't need to go anywhere else, right?
Because it was all here.
Inside the Oddfellows building, current owner Janice Perkins recounts its heyday. Built in 1913, it is one of the oldest buildings on Auburn Avenue.
Any kind of entertainment for the blacks in the city was held here.
Nearby were clubs, banks, barbershops, the epicenter of Black-owned business and excellence. Auburn Avenue, named by Fortune magazine in 1956 as the richest Negro street in the world. Just 2 years later, life in the sweet Auburn community began to sour. Work on the downtown connector began, dividing Auburn Avenue and the Black community.
It ruined the area, totally. It knocked out its customer base and it knocked out half the block. So it never was what it was before. And the intention here was to move the black business area to the west side.
Retired Georgia Tech professor Dr. Ron Bayer detailed all of it in his award-winning book, Race and the Shaping of 20th Century Atlanta. His extensive research revealed that on Auburn Avenue, the highway was used to destroy the community by cutting businesses off from their customers, while in other parts of the city, streets and roads were used to divide, creating barriers and buffers between blacks and whites.
Everything that Atlanta is now didn't happen haphazardly. It was planned. And it was planned with race in mind, sometimes to prevent violence, but sometimes just to maneuver the black community into certain areas. But it was planned with race in mind, no question.
More than 6 decades later, Auburn Avenue has still not regained the shine of the jewel it used to be.
We need to maybe turn that bridge into and underneath it something that people will want to come and see, connect it more as it should have been.
Tracy Hutchins, Atlanta News First.
And again, if you'd like to watch that story or just in general learn more about Georgia's Black history, you can go to atlantanewsfirst.com. We have this whole section of our various stories for Black History Month, Atlanta's Untold Stories, right now on atlantanewsfirst.com and our free mobile news app. Okay, let's talk about something happening here in Metro Atlanta. You know, the Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live. It's at State Farm Arena this whole weekend, if you are an enthusiast for that. So we spoke with the driver of the 50th anniversary Bigfoot Monster Truck, and he says the show has more fire than last year's show. If you've been before and maybe you want to go again, apparently you can still expect to see the wheelies, the long jumps, the donuts, the freestyle driving, and at intermission there's a fire-breathing dragon as well that's going to rip a car in half. Let's listen to a little bit more.
It's a huge adrenaline rush every time. You know, you get the butterflies in your stomach at the beginning of the show, and then by the end of it, you're as cool and calm and collected as could be.
Okay, so if you're interested in checking this out, there are 3 shows today and tomorrow. Tickets for kids start at $10. Okay, let's take a live look outside at Marietta Square. You see a lot of people getting out on this beautiful day. First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin keeping an eye on that forecast. You know what? This felt so good after.
It's busy. Look how busy it is.
It's really busy. I mean, everybody's excited about the weather.
Looks like someone might have gotten pulled over.
Oh, maybe too excited about the weather.
Yeah, too excited about the weather. But aside from that, it is sunny out there. You know, no leaves on the trees, but it's feeling a little like spring out there with temperatures peaking up on the northwest side in the low to mid 60s. So again, stunning day is underway, not just across North Georgia, not just across Metro Atlanta, but really much of the Mid-South, Southern Plains, and Southeast. We're going to get our graphics situated here, lay out the forecast for you. I want to go a little bit more in depth than maybe a normal 4:30 stream, just because we do not, I want to remind you this, we do not have an early evening newscast. We are preempted by sports on CBS this evening. So now we are streaming on Atlanta News First Plus, which you can stream at atlantanewsfirst.com. Also in the Atlanta News First app, First Alert weather app, all good resources out there to keep an eye on the First Alert forecast. And if you have any questions at any time, 2 places we can chat. Again, I'm First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin. If this is your first time streaming, thanks for tuning in. You can reach out on YouTube. Atlanta News First is the account that we're streaming on right now. We would love a like and a follow. You'll get a little buzz, a little alert when we do breaking news streams or streams like this one with a First Alert forecast. You can also just text us, 470-777-WANF. Again, that is 470-777-9263. Pulling up the forecast now, it's a stunning one out there. Temperatures are basically at their warmest right now in the mid to upper 60s, and then will continue to cool as we get back into the later evening hours. That sun is starting to set out there, and at least getting lower on the horizon. We still have a little bit longer before the sun truly sets across North Georgia. Temperatures right now peaking mid-60s in Atlanta at 64. That's at least, the temperature at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Also a little warmer on the southeast side of the metro, Eatonton 68. Look at LJ, though. A little bit of a cool air mass, kind of moved in behind yesterday's front. That final round that moved through well after sunset yesterday. Some gusty winds with that across the metro. And just not much of a colder air mass moving in, but the air is a little drier, and there is some cooler conditions. There are some cooler conditions up in the mountains there. Ellijay 49 and Blairsville 54, Raven County, back over to Fannin County, Clay County, North Carolina. Some of the coolest spots, and then you get south of the city, and most are in the mid to upper 60s. And technically at 64, Atlanta now back in the mid 60s. A stunning day out there, and we don't have any rain. So finally, a nice temperature, a warmer condition with sunshine. Yesterday we were 63 for a high temperature, but or we had 63 for a high temperature, but we also had more clouds. We had more rain. Don't have that issue this weekend. In fact, it's only going to get nicer. I think the nicest of the weather, unfortunately, likely to fall on a Monday. So let's walk you through it hour by hour forecast. Again, temperature is probably going to drop a good 4 or 5 degrees or so over the next maybe 2 to 3 hours as we get into the evening time frame, 6, 7 p.m. That's when it's definitely going to get a little chilly, and you will want that at least a light jacket. Notice by 9 p.m., even in the city of Atlanta, we're back in the mid-50s. As we get into the heart of the evening, maybe 10, 11 o'clock for those with longer duration outdoor plans, maybe grabbing a drink after the dinner plans tonight. Light jacket's a good idea. Temperatures upper 40s, lower 50s by midnight. That's in the core of the city, though. If you're outside of I-285 in particular, it will cool at a quicker rate. So maybe 54 at Hartsfield-Jackson at 9 p.m. Your neighborhood could be 50, 51, 49, somewhere in there. Good evening for the jackets, but still a nice evening. Clear sky, no worries of rain in the first alert forecast. High temperatures tomorrow. Keep in mind the average is 55. We're going 66 tomorrow afternoon. Not nearly as warm as it's going to be heading into next week, but still a good bit above average after a January that ended up being, month as a whole, 4.5 degrees colder than average at Hartsfield-Jackson. So kind of flipping the script there, opposite weather pattern and opposite condition, warmer than normal weather back in play. Even Ellijay, today you're in the upper 40s, tomorrow upper 50s. Helen 53, Hall County, Gainesville 57. So Lumpkin County, Dahlonega also mid upper 50s. A little cooler, far northeast metro on up into northeast Georgia, but a nice day regardless. Probably warmest in LaGrange at 68, Thomaston 67, Eatonton is at 66 tomorrow afternoon. That's all with sunshine, low humidity, and a light breeze across North Georgia, Metro Atlanta. Again, really much of the southeast. So stunning weather prevails, and we'll go ahead and show you that first alert 7-day forecast. If you thought Sunday was nice, I love to break the news, but also hate to break the news because no one wants the nicest weather in the 7-day forecast to be on a Monday, but that is going to be the case this go around. Again, day after Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is tomorrow with all the sunshine. Beauregard Lee, Pugsatawny Phil, we were chatting last night with some of our viewers about Long Island Chuck. They're all just rodents, giving their best guess. But if he sees his shadow, we'll see exactly how this plays out. Overall, you can kind of call this an early start to spring, but really it's just kind of like a warmer weather pattern that's going to be a little stubborn to leave initially. So next 7 days, every single day, we'll have temperatures well above average, with temperatures approaching 20 degrees above average as we get into, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoons, and not just with sunshine. Initially, yes, warm and mostly sunny, but as we get into that Wednesday, Thursday time frame in particular, clouds increase, humidity comes up just a little bit. Some of our mornings very mild, upper 50s and lower 60s. Probably will be some fog each of these mornings as well. With the chance of rain not all that high, but peaking Thursday night, early Friday morning. So that 30%, daytime hours, a little spike in that rain chance as we get into Thursday night. Though really looking like the greatest chance of rain, puddle making showers out there. Maybe a rumble or two of thunder would be far north metro on up into the mountains Thursday evening, night, into the wee hours of Friday morning. And then a little bit cooler behind that front, but still well above average Saturday, 20% chance of rain. We're kind of stuck in this unsettled weather pattern where there is going to be cold air across portions of the country. In fact, shared this on social media just a couple of days ago. Cold air across the northwest, north central, perhaps portions of the northeastern United States, but high pressure, this big southeast ridge is kind of more or less blocking that cold air from getting deeper into the south and east. So warmer, drier forecast initially, then keeping it warm, but adding some gloom and at least a low-end chance of rain as kind of battle of the air masses there just to our north and west, kind of contributing to those rain chances. And at least through this coming week, next 6-7 days, the cold air really remaining well north and west of of North Georgia basically blocked. However, after that, as we get into the middle of the month, there are some signs that we could see this pattern kind of reshuffle a little bit and perhaps become more favorable for cold air diving down the plains into Texas and then spreading eastward into the southeastern United States. So all that to say, not quite done with winter at all, even though technically, regardless of the good old rodent says, whatever the good old rodent says, it's going to be feeling much more like spring for the next 7 days before that possible transition back to a colder pattern. Tanya Belcher on YouTube saying the wind was bad last night. Tree was down. I saw some power out. Why was it windy? The wind would be... We had a line of showers move through. Winds technically were not all that bad, 30 to 40 gusts. No severe winds, no severe thunderstorm warnings last night or anything like that. But basically, we had a decaying little line of showers moving out of eastern Alabama, northwest Georgia. Had some wind with it, kind of on the leading edge of that front, basically, and area of low pressure to our north, so a little bit of wind energy. The showers that moved through yesterday afternoon, Tanya, were moving very, very fast. The wind was blowing very hard, but just well above our heads. And then when you have these last few showers move through, just enough to get some of that wind down to the surface. So it did get a little gusty, Tanya, but no widespread issues. Sorry you did notice that tree come down. Sometimes rotted trees, decaying trees, North Georgia, you know how the soil is. Sometimes they just come down, but wind was not severe last night. We just had that period of gusty winds for about 30 minutes or so, especially north of I-20, as those final few showers moved back in. So I do want to give you a final check of that first alert 7-day forecast. Again, 70s rule the forecast for the next several days. 66, though, tomorrow, and then 68 next Saturday, so in caps there, a little cooler. Heart of that first alert 7-day forecast, though, abnormally warm weather, probably some fog in the morning. Increasingly cloudy, especially Tuesday night onward, and there is that chance of rain. Spotty rain possible Wednesday, Tanya, Thursday, Friday, a chance of rain. Low end right now, not a first alert weather day, but if the forecast trends wetter, or if we shift around the timing in a way that will make that, rain more impactful, maybe for the Thursday evening commute, the Friday morning commute, within that 24-hour window, we'll add on that first alert weather day, give you the first alert, the heads up that weather could interrupt some of those plans. But right now, excuse me, not really looking like that. With a forecast just mildly unsettled, more clouds, spotty rain, but no true washout of a day in the first alert 7-day forecast. Again, want to leave you with a pretty view of downtown Marietta. That's Marietta Square there. Gorgeous afternoon. Folks are in the square and about town. Not just Marietta, all across North Georgia, the southeast, a stunner of a day. Get outside and enjoy it. But if you can't, we do have more nice weather, especially now through about Tuesday in the first alert 7-day forecast. A reminder, as mentioned at the beginning of the stream, that we do not have an early evening newscast, but we will have another stream for you tonight at Lansing News First Plus at 8 p.m. Another Check Your First Alert forecast. Also, video updates already there in the First Alert weather app, and you can always grab a check of the forecast at AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Please do get outside and enjoy the nice weather.